All right, guys, thanks so much for joining us today. I'm Hannah Perkey. I'm CEO of Evelo team with Keller Realty. We are joining you live. This is Bob Woerner, one of our top agents, and every month we come to you with some updates on what's happening in the real estate market in Central Indiana. So Bob will jump right in here. Go ahead and tell us what happened locally here in the market in March.
Yep, so we'll just hit right at it. First up, we always look at that median sales price. So for the end of March, we were at 289,993. Lots of nines there. That's up about 6.6% year over year. So probably a little better than maybe what some experts would have been predicting. And that is up almost 4% at 3.9% month over month. So continuing to see growth there. Next up is that cumulative days on market. The big number here, the 10 is the median. And then the average, which our second trend line here, was 44. So that is up a little bit year over year, but you'll see that's a big jump down at 37.5% from where we were last month. And you can see that curve has started to make its way down as we've kind of been predicting the last couple of months. And then right along with that month supply of inventory, again, a balanced market being about a 4 to 5 month supply of inventory. So we ended March at 1.4. We had creeped over a 2 month supply of inventory for a few months last year, started working our way back down. You can see we were at 1.8 last month. Now we're at 1.4. Last year we were at 1.1, so we're kind of floating between the two, but still well below what might be considered balanced. And then the last one here in this first batch, we always look at the percent of list price received. Again, a couple years ago, we were well above 100, 102, 103, 104 in some cases. We've been floating down into the 96, 97. Now we're back up at 98.2. That's about flat year over year and up about 0.7% month over month. Keeping in mind always that varies greatly by price point, location, and a number of other factors, but it's good big picture information to take a track of.
Well, and I love that you do the same period previous year because I think that helps us to start to see seasonality too, right? Like where were we 2 months ago versus today and then last year? Just because we know we work in Indiana in real estate in a very seasonal market and how things are impacted. So that's great.
Yeah,
All right, so we've been talking a lot about the market shifting. So what other items do you kind of keep an eye on to evaluate the shifting market?
Yeah, so just some things we added, probably several months back, maybe even more than a year ago now, as things ebbed and flowed a little bit more than they did from straight from 2020 to say 2022, 2023. First up is that active inventory, so number of listings available for sale in our market. March ended at 3,708. That is actually up pretty good over last year, up 16.9%. So that's good. Hasn't made a big difference yet, but we'll kind of see how that might continue. And then that was up a little bit month over month. And next up, closed sales. Even though the active listings was up, our closed sales, at least year over year, was down almost 10%. But that was up 28% month over month, as you can see there. So another one, you can start to see that curve heading straight up. I often describe our market as a roller coaster, and every roller coaster has that first big hill. And we always start to generally see that hill go up in February and March around here. And as we've been talking about the last couple of months, we've seen that starting to tick up a little bit earlier this year. Next up is new listings. So we had a little bit over 3,200 new listings for the month of March. That was down a little bit year over year, but that was up 18.7% month over month. So again, some positive indications. And then kind of going along with that percent of list price received, we also like to track percent closed above list price. Again, if we go back to 2022, you'll see we were above 50% for several periods of time. We had gotten down under 10% late last year into this year. Now we've climbed back up to 18.8, which is up about 30% over last month, but down a little bit from where we were last year.
Okay. Yeah, very interesting stuff. The things that run through my mind as I see that too is what is there probably 9,000 realtors in Central Indiana about? And so
Yes.
just seeing how many closed sales there are per month. If you guys are interviewing an agent, I think that's a big thing to ask is about volume because based on those numbers, a realtor could be doing one transaction every 3 months. So I think that's really big to know in order to be monitoring what is happening, what's changed in the market. All right, interest rates. I've seen some fun comments about this in the past 48 hours. So tell me about interest rates and what's going on with them.
Yeah, so we lagged a little bit because these numbers are from the end of actually a week ago. So last Thursday is when this primary mortgage market survey comes out each week. So we ended last Thursday at 6.82, which, believe it or not, was actually down a little bit from last month when we did this because we were in another little spike at the same time last month at 6.88 on that 30-year fix, 6.06 on the 15-year. So there's, inflation kind of was a little bit higher than anticipated. That was an announcement this week. Rates went up, down, up, down, up, down yesterday. They always have fluctuations throughout the day, but one of our primary lender partners had even wrote us an email about how they were seeing significant up and down movements the last couple of days. So we'll see where things settle out. I think the most important thing to derive from all this is the new norm, right? I think that's been the biggest topic of conversation. We are not headed back to 3 and 4% interest rates anytime in the near immediate future, right? And that's probably, a minimum of outlook at 12 months and probably even beyond that. So where we potentially land consistently between 6 and 7%, that's the thing that none of us have a crystal ball to determine that exactly. There's a lot of things that impact that, but this is definitely the new norm, right? And so those people that maybe they've been waiting on the sidelines a little bit to see if things would shift can keep in mind that prices continue to rise. And so your buying power goes down as prices rise if interest rates stay relatively the same. So we'll kind of see, hopefully you can see we've been up, down for going back to the Q4 of 2023. So hopefully maybe we'll get on a little bit of a downward slide as we head into the summer, which would have a little bit of a positive impact, but we'll see how some things shake out.
Yeah. And I think the positive is it's almost a whole percent lower than what we were seeing in the fall. But you're right.
Absolutely.
I mean, now we are 2 full years through of increasing or higher interest rates, right? And I think that was a conversation we were having in a training yesterday of we're seeing buyers that have been like waiting for things to change finally come back to the market because they're like, okay, 24 months later, that like they're accepting the fact that it is the new norm. So I appreciate you saying that. Any final thoughts about the state of the market right now?
Yeah, we always try to end with something. Hannah and I were at actually an event yesterday where they kind of gave this stat that 90% of home buyers were represented by an agent. I don't think too many people out there, at least definitely on the buy side, try to go it alone. But if for some reason you're contemplating it, would definitely like to have a conversation, explain the value that we can add and bring to the table. Just a few highlights here. Obviously, the industry experience, the expert local knowledge, working through and explaining pricing and market value. Most importantly, those legal contracts and that fine print of getting you through the process, and then just bringing that negotiation expertise to the table. So those are just a few things to consider, like Hannah mentioned, with a little over 3,000 units closed in our market and 9,000 agents. Not everyone is created equal, right? And we definitely have a strong, very strong and long-term track record of success at performing at a very high level. And if you've been thinking about buying in particular or selling, we'd definitely like to sit down and have a conversation and see if we could have the opportunity to earn your business.
Absolutely. Awesome. Well, thank you for sharing all that. I always get a lot out of it, and I'm in the industry, so we hope that you guys get some good pointers out of that, especially if you are considering buying or selling. We appreciate it. Again, we're Evelo team servicing Central Indiana. If you have any needs, we'll put our contact info in the comments, but you can reach out to us at I would say go to our website, eveloteam.com. You can find our phone number there, contact info. And besides that, we hope you stay dry today. So have a great rest of the day. Thanks.